Hello guys, welcome back to the live stream. Damn. Big botch.
We had
Microphone
some
wasn't
technical difficulties.
on. But damn. Wait.
Big botch. We had some technical difficulties.
Okay, good.
Alright, we got the voice. Yes.
Yay.
Maybe we should show them more energy through this one. We should be passionate.
Very passionate.
Very passionate about these bad episodes and good ones.
Don't question the thumbnail. There'll be a 5. There'll be like
It's part 1 of the seasons 4 and 5 review. We're doing season 4 today. We'll do season 5 another day, probably soon, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably soon because I can't do it probably tomorrow. I don't know. But let's just get right to it because now we don't have to question it. First up, Fear of Patty.
Alright, well, this episode was good. It was worked very well. In this episode, SpongeBob is overworked because the Krusty Krab is open 24 hours a day, and Plankton decides to trick him using an order that, and the order is 10,000 Krabby Patties. SpongeBob is working tirelessly, and eventually his mind just sort of snaps from being under the pressure of the work, and he becomes afraid of Krabby Patties. So he's turned over to Dr. P. Langton, and very funny segments from that, and then the episode, he is eventually cured of his Krabby Patty phobia.
And that good jokes, the piano joke, the phone joke, like I gave this a 7. I think it was a really good paced episode.
I'll give it a 7.5. There is a lot to like about an episode like this. Just very well done, honestly. Very well done, and the creative staff that went into this took a big win with this episode. Good way to start off the new season.
Which then added to that, here's the good thing with the reader stream, maybe my opinion has changed, and maybe I thought about remembering the episode. Next, Shell of a Man. The pre-last stream, I didn't really remember this episode much, but as this travel stream went on, I remembered it a little bit, and I'm not saying I love the episode more, but 6.5 from the original one I gave it. This episode's good. It's different.
I'm gonna give it a 7. I liked the fact that SpongeBob was trying to be convincing tough men, and it was working for a while. Yeah.
Here's the thing, I mean, Dominic, I wish you had told me, though. I wish you had told me in the last live stream you didn't hear me besides darting out, man.
Yeah, dang it, we got a whole hour and a half out of the way. Hey, but we're doing it again, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna do season 4 this time. Yes, we're gonna get it.
Sorry we're speedrunning it, guys, but we got other stuff to do. But next, The Lost Mattress.
I mean, I thought this episode was good. From Krabs being sent into cash coma when Squidward, SpongeBob, and Patrick tried to get him a new mattress due to the discomfort of his old one. The episode is very well structured to Squidward being punished correctly for actually trying to trick SpongeBob and Patrick into doing a lot of work, to Krabs and his hospital and some genuinely well executed jokes. I thought this episode was good. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Nice. And what was it? I believe I gave this a 7 the last time around. Don't remember.
I think you did, yes. I believe so.
Good episode. Next, Krabs versus Plankton. Now, I think this is the episode I was talking about before. Let me look, actually. Still gotta look good. Yeah, I believe this is the episode where...
Law episode. The episode where
Yes.
Plankton he fell on water that was there unaccompanied with, it was not accompanied with a sign saying, danger, there's water here. No, and this led to a whole lawsuit being filed. Then the next thing you know, they are in a court having a case. I think this episode was done very nicely. It's nice seeing court cases in there. And this was carried very well. I'm gonna give it 7. I would give it 7.4 out of 10.
Let me Law and Order, SpongeBob edition, 8.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Have you seen this snail? You know, the last, as I've said last, genuine SpongeBob episode in my opinion, but could have been different way for, Gary to run away, but, the second half is what really brings this episode together to give it an 8 for me.
Yeah, I would give it 8.3 out of 10. Great stuff in this episode, great storytelling, and it tugged at emotional strings because SpongeBob was actually genuinely sad because he lost Gary. Very,
Made me
very
cry.
good special. Really one of the best specials in SpongeBob.
Then, songs made us all cry. Skill Crane. What an episode.
Yeah, this was good. This was good stuff in this episode. The relatability of this episode is high because it's just somewhere like everywhere's been, you know? From not being able to do this small task to life constantly hounding you over it. I thought this was
Just
good. I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
same here, 7 out of 10. And the ending, I don't know, something about it's very amusing. Good episode. Next, Squidward torture episode. Good Neighbors.
Yes, good neighbors is an absolute stretch. More like pieces of trash neighbors. Holy F.
Just, I believe I gave it a 2.
I gave it a 2.9 out of 10. All Squidward wanted to do was enjoy his day off, and he gets tortured. His house gets invaded, turns into a giant robot, attacks city, and he gets sentenced to freaking do community service every Sunday for the rest of his entire life. This is just awful.
And funny how that it goes with another episode where he's doing community service. So it's like, torture for life.
Yep,
Oh,
and of
gosh.
course that was torture for my eyes. That other episode just managed to be even worse, in my opinion.
God. Selling Out, where Mr. Krabs goes in retirement. I forgot the guy's name, but it's taken by a, best I can describe, basic sports company.
I believe Carl was the name. Krabs
Carl,
retired, and he turned over his business into the Bland Industries. I believe that's what it's called. The Bland Industries, something like that. And it becomes this generic sports restaurant. But Krabs actually realizes that he wants is to be a working place and not just some high-tech fancy sellout. So I'm gonna give this 7.4. Good stuff.
Yeah, I remember. I know it's last time around I did not like it, but you know I do remember jokes were good. Interesting. I didn't understand this episode as a kid, but I understood Mr. Krabs' retirement, Carl, Dick. 7. Good. Next, Funny Pants. Oh lordy, not really funny to me.
I love how this is not funny at all. It's just torture for everyone's ears. It's just hearing him laugh for 11 minutes. My goodness, it's as if freaking Day Without Tears became Day Without Funny.
I wish it was called that. God. What would we give this? I
gave this a 33 out of 100, so that translates to 3.3 out of 10. There really is nothing to like about this episode. There's just nothing to be super fond of. There's nothing holding it up from being this episode is just awful and unfortunate to watch as it is. I can't say that this episode's good because that'd just be objectively wrong.
sorry, that was my headphones. I 1. I believe it's the 1 or 2 range. It's just mega trash.
It is trash. Absolutely. It belongs in that trash bin.
And deserves to stay there, but it's not the bottom one. Next, Dungeons and Dragons. 2 specials now that have been nailed beautifully.
This was just an overall great special. It didn't feel like it stretched at any time. It felt like the pace was fine. The medieval, they were able to make the medieval stuff. They were able to mix SpongeBob and medieval things well, medieval elements, and it actually turned out to be very funny with some of the lines with Squidly being some joke material and Planktonomore stealing the Princess Pearl. And overall, I thought there's just so much to like about this episode. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10.
I gave this episode, I believe, an 8.5. It just has that season 3 vibe to it that I loved. Jokes I think hit well. Obviously, not the perfect episode, but good enough. Freak me. Actually, click sign show code. Enemy in Law.
Good stuff in this episode.
Yeah.
This episode, Mr. Krabs, he is fallen victim to marriage complications because Plankton wants the student formula only by marrying Krad's mother. And there was a lot of stuff to like in here, a lot of jokes that nailed. Yeah, and the pacing was very nice. So you can't really say that this episode's bad because this episode it just doesn't show as anything bad at all. 74 out of 10, or 74 out of 100. My goodness, which is 7.4 out of 10. I got to do a lot of math. No, wait, that's not even right. I'm having a big brain math. Small brain moment.
Have a Scott Steiner math problem.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. 7.4 out of 10. It's a good episode. Some quality stuff in here. Just a fun watch.
Me, I'm giving it a 7. It was good. I don't know why I gave it a 6 last time around. That means decent, and I gave a lot of other episodes 6 that are decent. This 7, good. But Birdman and Barnacle Boy 6, the motion picture, is the second worst, but I stick behind it being the first worst, or the top worst, Birdman and Barnacle Boy episode.
I would say
the last one as well.
Mm-hmm.
The last one to be called that.
Well, yeah. There just isn't really much substance in this episode. The problem is, you just can't like this episode, really. I mean, I personally can't like it. There's not enough good stuff to like it, and it's just got weird when they went to do the filming with the Squidward makeup scene and the SpongeBob eating worms, and an overall underwhelming finish. I'm gonna just give this 5.9 out of 10. It really isn't something to love for me, and I just didn't find myself enjoying it.
And in the beginning, SpongeBob and Patrick yell at two people that were not. Oh yeah, that's why I didn't like SpongeBob's episode. You got all pissy with like saying you're not Barnacle Boy. Just like chill, boy, chill. It's like no, what was I give this? 3, somewhere in 3 and 2 range.
Dang.
I think it was 2.
All right.
Patrick Smart Pants. Still stand behind it. This episode, while being good, could have been executed better in season 3.
Yeah, I do really like this episode because it shows Patrick being smart, but it actually is good morally. It puts friendship above genius, you know, and yeah, it's a very good moral. Honestly, I'm not saying like it's the best, but it's very good to teach on a child who is now the target demographic, you know, children. And plenty of good stuff in this episode. Seeing Patrick was smart was very good. The voice change, I think the voice change was just Patrick's voice actor just talking normally, you know? He wasn't trying to imitate anybody. No. So I'll give this 7.4 out of 10. Very good stuff
7
in this episode.
It's good. It's good with the flaws. But next episode with flaws, SquidBob
SquidBob Tentacle Pants.
There you go.
Having a Scott Steiner alphabet promo over there, my man.
T.
Yeah, but this episode is just filled to the brim with problems. I can't really say that this episode did anything good that the rest of the episodes in this season did not. It just starts off with Sandy having this weird device. For what reason, no one knows as to why.
Not even she knows.
And Squidward like it's, and honestly, it might just be to transfer nuts. Like, wow, that's so creative, dude. I never expected a squirrel to say that in a million years. Bravo. Anyway, well, the problem with this is that it's just bad. It's just not good. There's nothing that's good. There's nothing that's sentimental. There's nothing that's high quality. It's just Squidward getting caught up in a teleporter, and then some grotesque scenes involving them being stuffed inside of a gift delivered to a teacher, them after pregnancy or after delivery, and them on space. None of it looks good. And then the end is just the worst end of all time for an episode. The worst way to end off, just absolutely disgusting.
And the biggest wonder is, where was Larry in the end of that episode? Still the biggest mystery in SpongeBob history.
That's the giant eyeball. We didn't see Larry there. He was involved in the fusion. He's not anywhere seen in that disgusting, grotesque squid hybrid. I don't even know what the heck to call that.
Furry artist in a nutshell. Best way to describe it. But yeah,
someone's done some Rule 34 stuff off that. I know that.
Oh God, I don't even want to look that up. But God, I can't say it's 0, but I cannot give it any higher than a 3.
I'm gonna give it a 3.6 out of 10. This episode is awful.
2, probably 2, because there is there's a couple things that could be redeeming. What are they? I don't know, because I haven't seen this episode in a long time. don't really watch this episode 'cause I don't
Nah,
watch.
there's the one part where Squidward is being cheered on the stage, but that's
Oh yeah.
simply because he was SpongeBob. I mean, other than that, I can't say anything good about the episode. There's nothing good. There's nothing to praise about it. It's just awfulness.
I mean,
Just for 11 minutes.
The episode was doing a good thing, which was SpongeBob and Squidward trying to figure out a way to work together, fuse together, and then everything else was taken away.
Turned to utter garbage. My goodness, this was just a pain to sit through.
But oh wow, funny enough, this is on April 1st. It's supposed to be April Fool's, because I think SpongeBob Fools on this one. Krusty Towers and Mrs. Puff, you're fired as a duo on April 1st in both episodes. My oh my. 8.5.
It's definitely one of the best pairings in SpongeBob history, up there with let's see some good pairings. We got Krusty Krab training video and Wet Painters. We got Band Geeks and The Secret Box. We have what else is a great pairing?
What was Snowball Effect paired with?
Snowball Effect. Let's see.
I must know what that was paired with, because that's one of my all-time favorite SpongeBob episodes.
The Snowball Effect was paired with. I don't know. Oh my goodness.
Uh-oh. Let me look. I must know.
I don't remember what this is paired with.
One Crab's Trash.
Okay, that was good. It wasn't great, but it was good.
Aw.
What else? Was this thing in like season 2? Oh wait, Mermaid Man, Barnacle Boy 5 and Chocolate with Nuts. That's another one of the best pairings.
Dude, that's the greatest pairing.
It might be. If it's not Wet Painters and Krusty Krab training video, it's that. Or this. This is definitely one of them too. Krusty Bucket, or no, Krusty Towers and Miss Puff, you're fired. Let's talk about Krusty Towers real quick. Just a majorly satisfying episode, really. We see Mr. Krabs enlarging the Krusty Krab into a giant hotel. Then we see him treat Squidward unfairly, but Squidward actually gets his worth. He's able to see Mr. Krabs being untreated fairly. And the whole Patrick segment with Squidward.
Just amazing. Which, the best part is, characters... It's just Squidward and Mr. Krabs is, just beef with each other the whole episode. Not one's getting terrorized. They both are terrorizing each other, which is just so... Something about it's just hilarious.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, this is probably better off in season 4. Because season 4, then season 3, it was intended to be in season 3, but the pace of season 4 matched up, because season 4's got the fastest pace in the entire season of the show.
Plus, it stands out in season 4.
Yeah, it stands out in this season, whereas in season 3 had episodes like Wet Painters, had episodes like Krusty Krab training video, had episodes like what else? Another classic episode from that season.
An underrated classic from season 3 was the one where SpongeBob lost his identity. He lost his name tag.
Missing Identity?
Yeah.
I think it was called Missing Identity.
That
it's also got Just One Bite. Let's see the other episodes it got. It's got Snowball Effect. It just got, and does it have camping episodes? It's got so much to offer, honestly. So putting it in this season was a really good idea, because now it stands out in its own.
But it would have been nice to see it with Steven Hillenburg writing on it.
Yeah. We'll give this episode 8.6 out of 10. Just so much to like about this episode.
8.5. I love this episode. The only thing I don't like is the ending, which most likely costs it from going to a 9. Just the ending just kind of... And I'm staying by
I didn't think the ending was bad. It was just a little weak.
And like I said, if the ending led into the next episode doing what they said in the end of that one, honest to God, that would have been hilarious.
The problem with SpongeBob is it's inconsistent throughout the series. Not like something happens, it actually happens. Someone could die a million times throughout the episode, and they'll be just A-okay the next episode.
I mean, the first 3 seasons were technically, canon? Especially season 1 and seasons 2.
You mean consistent, canon. Like in the events that happen?
Yeah, well, I say canon because SpongeBob, grows from this employee who just works there, and you can tell that he grows from season 1 to 3.
Yeah.
Next,
all right.
Mrs. Puff, you're fired.
And man, this was a good episode. The best Miss Puff episode, in my opinion.
Not saying much, unfortunately.
Yeah, she doesn't have that many good episodes, but this is definitely the best of them. And in this episode, SpongeBob fails for like the millionth time or whatever. Like literally, they go through the folder, and then Miss Puff is therefore fired due to the perception that she is unable to accurately teach SpongeBob. So they hire a new teacher to fill her place, that being Sergeant Roderick. And man, what good stuff in this episode.
Some good shit. The joke with no talking, the no joke with the chocolates, dude. Oh my god. The rocket with the rocket with the bow. SpongeBob going through military fucking, what is it? Military,
like a little boot camp for driving
boot
school.
camp.
Then the best part, the thing that's brilliant about this episode,
Blindfold.
he needs the blindfold. He is taught to drive with the blindfold, so he doesn't learn to drive without it. So he's only able to drive if he has the blindfold on.
Which just it's so stupid, but yet done so phenomenally. Hello there, Gonzalez. Gonzalez. I'm so sorry I botched your name. Haha, I'm going to hell. But this is a great episode. 8.5.
8.4. I'll give it. It's 2 episodes that are about on par with each other.
Next, Chimps Ahoy. Average 6. Just average.
I'd say it's good. I give it like 7.1 out of 10. In this episode, Sandy is unable to invent something to impress her bosses, so SpongeBob and Patrick try their hand at it, and there's some decent jokes in here. It's nothing like over the top amazing, but it's good overall. 7.1. This stuff with Mr. Dr. Patrick was good.
Yeah, Smart Patrick. I was about to say the Smart Patrick joke was like, haha, good. Now, one of my favorite episodes from season 4, Ghost Host, as the most scariest SpongeBob episode. 8.5. I love this episode.
The scariest episode in the show.
It feels like a season 3 episode for me. It feels like it. This episode was paced phenomenally. The story is great. The jokes are just hit right, and the final 2 minutes of that episode just was perfect.
One of the best episode endings because it's just the stuff the length they went to scare Squidward. This episode I'd say belongs in season 4. The pace. At times it's fast, at times it's slow. It's a little inconsistent. But what happens here is the Flying Dutchman he has a ship crash, so he goes to SpongeBob's house to stay at his house, but he scares him mercilessly. Eventually, when he keeps scaring him, SpongeBob gets tired of it, and he seems not scary. So he wants to gain his confidence back by scaring other people, and fails. So the one thing he does, he goes to the one person in town who doesn't believe in ghosts. Well, actually, I guess Mr. Krabs, but would be it. But he didn't go to Krabs. He went to Squidward's house, and man, what a scare that was. I don't think that this episode was a little bit excessive in its motives, but still a good package overall. I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
Dude, honestly, if they actually went to Mr. Krabs' house to continue off that one episode where he said that would have probably helped this episode even more.
But I think the stuff they did with Squidward's mom really hit home. Like, my God, that's seeing your mother's face melt right in front of you.
It's scary stuff. 8.5, love it. Next, Whale of a Birthday. 4. I don't like Pearl's character. Mr. Krabs' character is dislikable. Pearl's character is dislikable. Both get karma, I guess. Kinda. Yeah,
there's not much to love about this. Okay, somewhere between 4 and 5. I don't remember the exact quality of this episode. I do remember that it is worth missing. It's just not good. And I can't say that I like this episode. So why should I treat it like that? Somewhere between 4 and 5. It's just missable.
You could skip it. It's just Pearl bitching, Mr. Krabs not wanting to spend, SpongeBob, thinking, okay. just being the middleman. Next, Karate Island. This episode is a 5.5 or maybe in 5. The biggest problem with this episode is SpongeBob.
Yeah, SpongeBob was acting like a jerk. He managed to somehow spontaneously get an invite to this random Karate Island. And he starts being kind of he just has a big ego, and he just treats Sandy bad. And honestly, I mean, it's all right, I guess. Sandy just fights off a bunch of guys, then it turns out it's a insurance deal. I give it a 6. It's just not that good.
And just the third room fight scene is disturbing as heck because of just the animation to it. Just skip this episode, guys. You're not missing anything besides the ending with Squidward. That was kind of funny. But next, All That Glitters, which I'm telling you now, this is not glittery at all. This is not sparkly. This needs to go in a bin.
All that glitters is not gold, but this I could tell you didn't have one shine. This was just garbage.
It's just, oh god. Best
Again,
part
this
of the
SpongeBob
episode
was just
is
so
the
hyper
worst part of the
emotional in
episode.
this.
Oh, now I remember. It was SpongeBob rolling down, rolling. He turned himself like a little roll, kept on rolling, crying, and then SpongeBob goes on the screen, just saying some kind of dialogue while the thing goes away. I always that's so unintentionally funny for some reason.
Breaks his spatula and then cries for the rest of the episode. Evil Spatula did this way better, by the way. This is in season 9, but this episode is just a sad mess. I mean, he gets the stereotypical French spatula. Then it says, "No, I'm not cooking this slob meat," and runs away. Which, by the way, SpongeBob sold all of his clothes for, so he had to walk around naked just to purchase it. This episode is just a sad, pathetic heap, and it's just not. It's not good. It's not something you would normally expect from the upbeat Sponge. It's just downright pathetic. I'll give it 3.5. It's just garbage.
3. It's awful. Wishing You Well. Episode that is good, but I don't know. It feels like there could have been a lot more done besides the one piece of dialogue where they're all shouting at each other.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff. Well, I expected something like this to happen. The magic song was actually kind of nice for the time it got. But this episode's about Krabs opening a well because he wants that cash and he wants people dropping in their change in it. And then, of course, SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward all get stuck down, resulting in a hilarious scene. And then everybody who dropped the coin in gets their wish. And then Krabs, unfortunately, does too when he tries to satirically wish that he was served on a plate, and he is. And then the episode ends. I mean, I give it a 70.8. You know, that scene is just one of the best scenes in SpongeBob after season 3. Just so much fun, that is.
6.5. I had to rewatch this one. It's been so long. I've never been heavily behind this episode like others. Just haven't.
Yeah.
Next, New Leaf.
Wow.
The good old pretty much Mr. Krabs thinking.
Mr. Krabs and Plankton episode.
Patrick is in my mind for some reason.
Yeah. So in this episode, Plankton finally relinquishes, and Krabs actually doesn't buy into it at first. Plankton opens a freaking gift shop with items, but then Krabs destroys it. Then you could actually see that Plankton, at least acting, he actually is past it. He's past it, and then Krabs actually regrets his harshness and actually calls him, trying to actually make up. That shows that there is something still good to Krabs, and then they Krabs in an emotional scene actually gives the formula up to Plankton because he trusts him to have it. And of course, it ends up all being a rouge anyway, but it was nicely executed. And Krabs himself gave Plankton the wrong formula, and that was just a nice way to end because everybody knew the show's got to have a villain. That's a good way to do it. I'll give 7.3 out of 10.
The only thing I also give it, I'm gonna 7 with it. 7. The only thing that confused me with this episode is the part where Plankton just pops up in a black screen and just starts celebrating, and then runs to the chum bucket. Just a little bit of a nitpick. Just kind of feels lazy. Don't want to do some extra animation of him running, just celebrating. Next, Once Bitten, not just one bite. No, this is Gary biting a lot. Dear God, this episode sucks.
I have not seen this episode recently. It's about Gary having this
mad snail
rumored disease. Mad snail disease, or some other crap like that, and then he just bites people. Then I don't even know how it ends, honestly.
It ends with Gary getting that big stick out of his, thing.
Oh yeah, right.
And then he bites Mr. Krabs in the ass, and yeah.
And then that's it. Yeah, that's all, folks.
I feel like a 4. 4.
I can't give it a rating. I haven't seen it in a while.
I'd say 4.3. It's awful. I mean, the only funny part is the newscast, because the way they say mad snail disease is hilarious. Which, speaking of episodes one hasn't seen, Bummer Vacation. I have not seen this episode in about 7 or maybe even a decade. I don't remember this episode. I don't. I only remember there was action figures, and that was fun.
Which episode is this again? You kind of blew it out for me.
Oh, it said Bar Vacation episodes. We forget one has not seen. I don't remember this. I haven't seen this in a decade. The only part I remember this episode as a child was one of those action figures SpongeBob was playing with, and the action figures those action figures had.
Oh yeah, Bummer Vacation. There's not really much to say in this. I mean, it was okay. I would just give it a 6. It was just him being sad that he had vacation time, but some parts were played well, but not the whole episode. So I'm gonna give it a 6.
I forgot it existed. Which, by the way, speaking on, something's weird about season 4. The animation starts off weird, and then it starts spiraling into what we see in season 6 through 8. Weirdly enough, I don't know. It's weird. But Bummer Vacation, can't give it an 8 out of 10. Can't really properly rate it, but you know what? Wig struck. Sorry guys, we're speeding through this. We don't want to do this for another hour, 30 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here. We did this, and then whatever. But just get Wig struck. Wig struck is just not good. SpongeBob finds a wig off the frickin' ground or whatever, and then puts it on his head, and then everybody says, "Ha ha, you look dumb," and then that's really it. I'm gonna give it 4.8. Just
what I
not good
understand
stuff.
is one of the band people. We are back. Gotta go somewhere right now. Okay, Becca. Yeah, how the episode started is just weird. You know that one band? I forgot what they're called themselves, but
Ned and the Needlefish.
I think that's who they are. Yeah, I think that's who it is. They had the wig on, and I don't understand is if people know Ned and Needlefish, they would know the wig is from him. And if they like Ned and Needlefish, why are they making fun of SpongeBob for having it?
Just a big plot hole that they try to graze over. It's just not good. They had only one funny scene in it, with the exchange between Krabs, Squidward, and SpongeBob. But that's the one plus I can give this episode, or the biggest plus I could say. It's not a horrible episode, not terrible. It's just kind of bad.
And didn't also Ned and Needlefish lose their contracts because of the wig being gone?
They said that one of the fish, the bald fish, was going to be fired because Rock is about, waving your hair around. So if he didn't get back by like the end of the day, he could consider his job over.
And then the Bikini Bottom citizens being hypocrites.
Of course, that's what they do, man.
And then them all getting all pissed at SpongeBob throwing blowtorches and all like, what the I mean...
Hell nah, SpongeBob.
I mean, and also, I mean, I get they were pissed because SpongeBob had the wig in the movie theater, but dang, screw this episode. 1? Maybe? 2? 2 or 3? Between 1 and 4. Let's go 1 and 4. Not too harsh, but...
It's just not good. It's just not... You can't like the episode. It doesn't give you a reason to like it.
Or the citizens. Squid-tastic Voyage.
Even worse.
Just gross, too.
Wow, I'm gonna give it 4.5. There's just... I mean... they just take Squidward torture and they go inside his body, where it's usually him just getting hit outside the body or whatever. But just SpongeBob and Patrick being stupid and Squidward being paying for it, and the ending is so unsatisfying. Like Squidward gets his body like blown to different proportions, like it expands to different proportions because they use a freaking submarine and they grow inside of him. And then Patrick clogs a toilet. He uses the bathroom inside of Squidward. Like, my goodness, dude.
Ew, just... God. Screw this episode, too. Screw you, freaking SpongeBob. Next, That's No Lady. Don't really... I kind of remember this episode because I've seen it recently, but it's average. 6. It's average.
Yeah, so somewhere between 5 and 6. Just not much to like about it. I mean, when this basically Patrick becomes paranoid because someone advertises a vacation for him, get out of town. And then he takes it literally. I mean, typical Patrick stuff. It's just not that good.
It reminds me... I take note season 4, there's great episodes. It's good episodes, not great. And then there's that one bad episode, and there's one episode that's just average. Season 6 through 8, while, if you don't want to get a bad episode, you get an average one. That's what I'm trying to do.
There's a lot of middling stuff in season 6 through 8, but the bad is really bad.
Got it. Next, the bad. The Thing. That only gets saved by the last 5 seconds.
That is an absolute understatement, man. Oh my goodness, this was atrocious. So we started off the episode by Squidward literally being covered in cement just because he wanted to watch some TV. And then he spends 5 days in it. And then he gets taken to SpongeBob's house where Gary brutally attacks him, and then he gets taken to the zoo where people laugh at him when he's behind his zoo cell, and then he gets abducted from the zoo, being thrown down a hole. Like, that was a steep hole. And at the end, he meets his kind, or those other smellies, or whatever the heck you want me to call them. But then surprisingly, KelPG's there, and he plays for 30 seconds, and then Squidward hatches out of a shell.
But at least he got his hero. 0.5. That is the only thing that saves this episode, because it did something Smoothie, Jazz, and Bikini Bottom couldn't do.
6 out of 100. This was a piece of flaming trash. The only partially redeeming thing, and I say partially with a big definition there, I hardly think this constitutes for anything, is KelPG playing. That was some smooth playing we got there, and Squidward finally got to see him. But everything else, minus that, it might just be the worst episode. It might overtake Papa Gary as the worst episode. Holy
underhated.
God, this episode was a piece of crap. Underhated, absolutely, yes.
Because here's the thing, I agree with you. I hated it, but I didn't consider it Squidward torture. But then looking at it, yeah, it is.
It's torture to a whole new level. He can't even do anything. It's just him being stuck there in cement. He can't escape. I don't even know how he breathes. My God, this just sucks.
Yeah. Next, Hocus Pocus. Yet again, definition of average, but a few points get written off for me. 5.5 because SpongeBob's temper tantrum for some reason.
Between 4 to 6, somewhere in there. Honestly, I haven't seen this episode too much. Yeah, it didn't leave such a big impression on me. It's just kind of there. It just isn't really good or bad. It's just kind of there.
Yeah. Next, Driven to Tears, an episode that honestly was written actually pretty well. The ending, but it's all the build-up that matters to the ending, which one of the best endings.
Not perfect. It's not the build-up's not perfect, but the ending is satisfying.
But here's the thing: the build-up's not perfect, but it leads to a perfect ending.
Yes, they did do it. They did end it just about the best way they could. I'll give this episode a 6 because, well, I know people will say it's the destination that counts, not the journey. But I mean, the whole thing was specifically just to have the ending. But at the same time, Patrick didn't know he was showing off his newly won driver's license with his new fresh boat that he won some kind of, I don't even know what, he randomly won it just because. And SpongeBob couldn't do it in like a million tries. So SpongeBob, it did feel like he was rubbing it in his face, but Patrick didn't try at the same time.
No, he was just happy, and he even told SpongeBob he'd help him out, which SpongeBob got pissed. Which SpongeBob was a dick. SpongeBob realized he's the reason why they ended up crashing, and he took the fall. And then Patrick realized what he did wrong, and they had that ending, with the bumper or whatever the thing is. The lights.
Bumper sticker, the ass thing. I don't know what to call it.
Bumper sticker ass. Just good ending. 6.5. I think, the ending helps a little bit. Doesn't make it better, but it's a heartwarming moment. Considering that after this, Patrick turns into Dick Noculus. Majorly, because next episode I have not seen in years. Rule of Dumb.
Yikers, yo! This episode is not fun. And Patrick is randomly met. He randomly meets someone, and then they tell him, "You have this royalty because you have this heritage. You have a bloodline that goes back to earlier relatives who were royal." And he becomes a king, and then he becomes a total jerk.
And they say like, "Oh, we don't know who the second royalty is because it's covered in coffee stain," or they question what that was. I don't know.
I guess at least Patrick realized he was being a jerk when he saw like his evil self in the mirror or whatever, but it was too late, really. And then they shoehorned this weird Gary ending where he somehow is the coffee stain who is royal. Does that mean the relatives or whatever? Like, honestly,
it's weird. It's weird how SpongeBob and Patrick now connect in a really weird way if they already haven't. But the best part of this episode is Squidward calling out Patrick for all of his BS and him getting a lot of karma for that. That was just beautiful, which led into the next scene. Just
somewhere in the 4 range. This is not a good episode by any means.
3 to 4. Born to be Wild. 6 or 5. Just
give it
average.
6. It's just all right. I mean, it's all right, but it's not like
Ah,
anything good. It's not anything stand out bad, to be fair. It's
just
just a
typical.
biker gang that turns out to be old.
Just a typical SpongeBob. Sees something, gets scared. Everyone's like, "Huh, you're just a kid." Oh, wait a minute. You're right. Oh no. Yeah. BS. Best frenemies. I've already forgot this episode.
Well, this is an episode in which the kelp company, the kelp
Oh, yeah.
shake, I think, I'm not sure, something like that. They start to have business, and Krads and Plankton have their businesses overtaken. So Krads and Plankton team up for the first time in the series. I know New Leaf happened, but they were just being friends. They weren't a team to take something else down. This is the first time they team up, and I think this is done well. The scene that was really weird was that when the end is when SpongeBob gets covered with his fur stuff because the toxins and like the
Rolling 4 artist came in.
the ending after that managed to make up for it. So I'm gonna give it 7 out of 10.
Upon third of thinking from last stream, I'll go 7. I think it's good. Honest to God, as you said, it is the first episode teaming up. You are correct on that one. You feel like there could have been something more groundbreaking, which it was almost there, but.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it was good, but nothing like super duper,
And then next we have the pink.
Carolina, I believe.
Yep, because I don't want to pronounce that word.
I'm gonna give this 7 out of 10. In this episode, SpongeBob loses his jellyfishing net, and he thinks Patrick's doing it. Turns out Patrick was actually spending his time building a new one for SpongeBob. So I like the swerve, and I like some of the stuff they did in this episode. It was pretty suspicious, but Patrick gave him kind of a reason to. So I'm gonna give it 7 out of 10.
I'll go 6. I mean, it's between 5 or 6. It's good. I just believe SpongeBob was getting a little bit too harsh, but really, yeah, Patrick was not really giving himself a good name. But it's more of chill your tits, SpongeBob. This is Patrick. Do you really think he'd steal? Stupid. But next,
Yeah.
Squidward torture again.
And this must be fun for absolutely no one. The thing about this episode, though, it's a Squidward torture, not because he gets attacked or like hurt or whatever. They openly state the problem with this. When Squidward is dancing, nobody is digging it. But when the little Squidward dances, the Squidward dances because SpongeBob made it because Squidward wouldn't play with him, so he made a lifelike puppet. But when Squidward dances, somehow it's a miracle and somehow everybody's digging it. And this one Harold guy, the blue fish named Harold, says, maybe if we shrink Squidward down to this size, he could become a better dancer. And that shows they're loving Squidward because he's not Squidward, and they're hating Squidward just because.
It's just so... And the ending. But we get that meme in the end, which... You know what could have been another redeeming thing? Or just at least a good moment? Is if that fish who did big meaty claws said it in that same tone with Squidward, like, if we shrink him, Squidward down to his size. It could have been much more better. There could have been more... Here's the thing. The concept of... this could have done in the HD era? They could have had SpongeBob terrorize Squidward or terrorize everyone with his puppet, and then in the end, Squidward brings out a puppet himself, a SpongeBob, or did he do that in the episode?
Well, this was Chef Bob. It was after the Chef Bob puppet had been defeated. And then Squidward and Krabs took out their little puppets and then kicked him out.
Oh, now I remember. Well, here's the thing. In Squidward, SpongeBob did bring out a puppet, but it was because it was a puppet of him, but... could have been written better, as if Squidward came out with, SpongeBob's puppet, and maybe Squidward started terrorizing SpongeBob, maybe.
Maybe the double standard would be put back in SpongeBob.
Which, it probably wouldn't be any better, but, at least Squidward wouldn't be, gathered, into a corner. SpongeBob would be too. And I think that makes all this alright. But, it's not alright. The best day ever. Because it's truly not.
I mean, it's just mediocre, honestly. It's just supposed to be hyped up as some super big episode. Meanwhile, it's a normal episode with an annoying musical. It just features SpongeBob's day being interrupted by him helping friends in need. And then at the end, he gets his musical, and it's just not that good. I'm going to give it 5.3. It's just nothing to behold.
It's 5. It's not the best day ever. In fact, I was having the worst day of my life. Here's the thing. The songs themselves, I actually like the song "Best Day Ever" because originally this was in the end credits of the SpongeBob movie. Why it was an episode, I don't know. It should have.
Yeah, it's just confusing as to why they decided to develop this into an actual episode.
And why they hyped it up like it was the last one. This thing got overhyped like it was potentially the biggest SpongeBob episode ever, maybe even the finale, and it was 11 minutes.
Yeah, and it wasn't even the last of the episode it was paired with. It was the first episode. Then was the next episode, which we're about to discuss, which will be the Gift of Gum.
Actually, no, this episode came out a year prior to the Gift of Gum, which is weird.
That's just retarded, honestly. Why?
Yeah, it got paired up with the the pink P word.
This episode, I think, nowadays it is presented up with Gift of Gum.
Oh god.
I saw both these episodes in a pair. This episode really just isn't anything good. It's just Patrick having a gum ball, and he just devours everybody around it. Squidward unfairly gets his house tangled in it. Then Sandy comes and gets the gum, and it just gets stuck to her, and then Patrick ends up eating it. I mean, there's nothing much about it. It's just like in the 4 range, honestly, for me.
How inspiring. Yeah, 4. Oh, lordy. This episode, I don't know. It's not amusing. I mean, the thought of SpongeBob and Patrick having a best friends they give gifts,
Alright, well, that wraps up our Season 4 review. We will be doing Season 5 soon.